The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. We're going to start out the show like we usually do, taking a look at the German DAX and also the FTSE. But I have a couple of special requests. One of them was from yesterday, and I will get to the topic we were on before. This is the let's try it again, Larry. This is the Russian ruble. Never traded it. All I know that you can see there that it runs about 1 cent, 1.3 cents to the dollar. So it's I wouldn't you call it a major thing. You can see the three drive to a bottom pattern there in August. Then you had the ABCD up there. Just about absolutely perfect, and that's about it. So even with, you can see the little ABCDs through there a lot, but it's just illiquid, folks, from my perspective, and I stick with the main six, and that's the euro, the pound, the Swiss, the Canadian, Australian, and Japanese yen. Those are the ones. In fact, we had a very nice trade in the euro this last day or so, and I think we'll bring that up to you so you can take a look at it here. This is the, hold on, we'll get this up here. Oh, this is only part of it, but we're going to get the main part. The other part of these, I'll show you the patterns in between here. This is a 15-minute chart, and this happened to be one of those when we broke the trend line that looked like we were going to have a pretty good move down, and we did. It just dropped like a rock, went right down to the ABCD formation there, which was, absolutely spot on. And that made you feel pretty good when you had that happen. I'll bring this up so you can see what this looks like when we look at that. So we've covered the Russian ruble and we've covered the euro. Now let's get back to the question that was posed to me and the fact that in the newsletter this week we had a lot of indications that the market was making some type of a major bottom in especially the Bitcoin and especially in the crude oil. What we were looking at, if you look in Bitcoin here, you'll be able to see here that this is where we were. We were down there at 3 standard deviations. Okay, that low right there was an exact 382 retracement off the low at 28,000, I believe. And that was just part of it. If you remember, the one that I particularly, felt the most comfortable about, of course, was the crude oil market, because the crude oil market was sitting there with a beautiful 3 drive to a bottom pattern, and it was just absolutely perfect. And you can see here, we took off like a rocket from that level. And I'll talk about that a little bit. But the question that the gentleman posed is, why didn't I put out a major buy signal on the stock market? Because we looked at the NASDAQ. I mean, the NASDAQ to me was probably the easiest one of them all. Let's just get this up here to see it. Look at the equal moves we had between September and October, folks. It took us 2 weeks to do the same thing. We went right down to a 50% retracement. Folks, we're approaching the old highs already in 2 days. That's a monster move coming out of there. There's a beautiful ABCD there, and it took off. And the key to this was on Sunday night. The NASDAQ was actually down Sunday night, about 80 handles, when the S&P had gapped up and the Russell had gapped up. And the Dow Jones had gapped up, but the NASDAQ took a little later to kick in. But when they did, you can see that it just took off and took off and took off. And at the bottom, look at this thing. This is not quite up to date because it's still been running this morning. But look at the big ABCD pattern to the downside, folks. If you don't believe in ABCDs, this should be the end of the story, because you can see the ABCD is perfect in price and time down there. It's a 1.618 expansion. You can see where it makes a slightly lower low there on Sunday night, just below 15,082. And now we're approaching the 1.618 expansion at 163.27. Now, we might even be above that already, but we're up into some areas that hasn't been. To see the Dow Jones up 600, the S&P up 100 handles, and the NASDAQ up 400 handles, folks, that's an outlier. So, all I do is I go down to a smaller time frame and, and watch, what I'm looking for. I don't try to risk very much. And that's why when I didn't put a buy up, hey, first of all, I said, don't be short. I said, if it opens higher Sunday night, don't be short. It was that clear to me because we had just rallied 40 handles on the close, and that meant to me the fact that we were setting right at all of those standard deviations and those big ABCDs, and if it didn't open sharply lower on Sunday night, to me, it looked like it wanted to be, ready to go. And if you look at the Dow Jones, just take a look at this where we were here. You'll be able to see here. The Dow Jones made the low on Wednesday. Now, you'll see the action that you had there, the little bit of a pullback, but this bottom in the middle of last week. So it was still going higher with the rest of the markets going lower. So there was, the leadership had changed, as Basil pointed out very clearly on his show, that's one of the reasons that happened. But the importance of that standard deviation, folks, cannot be underestimated, because this is how the options market works. When it gets back, when it goes one or two, especially two standard, and the Russell was exactly at two standard. Look at the newsletter. The Russell was exactly at two standard deviations on the close Friday, and look what happens. It opens higher, and it's off to the races. It's already moved over 120 handles in 2 days. So that's why I was very, I just didn't put it in. Maybe it was being overtired or what it happened to be. I don't know, but I can't get them all. And I saw it Sunday night, and I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all. I mean, I had other things that were working pretty good. The one thing that I did do, and the other one of those two, I liked actually the crude oil. I liked the best. And I will go through this again, because you have to, I guess, get an idea of what my mindset is, if you can find it. Okay, let's take a look here. This is the crude oil 60-minute. I was looking to be a buyer down there Sunday night if we could get it a little lower, around 65, 60. Unfortunately, the market gapped up. That was telling me, all these other things gapping up, that's not going to make that pattern. So then what I do is I go down to a smaller time frame. And when I'm looking at a smaller time frame like that, let me show you how I handle that. You'll be able to see it. You'll see the Thursday, Friday, Sunday, the whole bit here. Let's get this up here. Hold on one second here. And you'll see what I look for. Okay, now, you'll see we missed the first 382 retracement there on Thursday when we made the major bottom there at 62.40. But you'll notice here that we made another retracement here on Friday night, and then you see how it gapped up on Sunday. Now, I wanted it to gap lower to make that beautiful head and shoulders pattern, but it didn't. It gapped higher. So the only choice I had was to buy 382 retracements, and my first one came in at 67.50. Folks, this puppy's trading at 72 something now. Look at yesterday, the same thing, right to a 382, 67.50. And then last night it makes an ABCD and it goes through the 1618 like it doesn't even exist. And we know when that happens, that tells you that it's very, very bullish. So all I'm trying to do is to manage the risk the best I can for you guys. And to me, it was an easy trade, but had a little more risk and probably a lot of psychological things that I'm not even sure of. Anyway, that's my 10-4, and I'm sticking to it. We'll be right back. 877-927-6648.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, I posted another chart. This is a 15-minute chart on the wheat. You can see it made a big ABCD down from its high, and then it made a nice retracement. And now what it had set up for this morning was a perfect head and shoulders pattern on a 15-minute chart. Now, that has already worked from my perspective because it moved about 8 cents after it made that bottom. So I haven't checked it recently, but I'm pretty sure I'm still in it because I haven't seen an alert come through. Anyway, that's what I try to do, is to get down to that smaller time frame, to keep reasonable risks involved, and that's what I'm watching. Now, get back to the discussion we had yesterday. They asked me about the 2 major embarrassing things that I had when I was on the floor. They asked for more, but I could only think of 2. And one, of course, is when I bought the Bill Shepard's equity run so that I could go through to see what he was doing. And I, fortunately, he cleared through his own clearing firm. But anyway, I already went through that, so it's not important. But the second one was probably even the most important. It happened before that, and that was in January of 1983. I'd been there almost a year, and I had shorted 4 contracts of February pork bellies. This was, of course, January 1st, and I shorted 4 contracts of February bellies on a beautiful ABCD pattern. And I came in on Monday morning, and there was a cattle on feed report on Friday that I wasn't aware of, and it was one bullish report. I mean, they were saying 2, possibly 3 limit ups in cattle. The whole buzz was there. There must have been, usually there's 50 people around a cattle pit. There was probably 100 there that day, and they're talking about 2 and 3 limits up, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to get killed being in these bellies. And so I figured they would be up the limit. So what I did was I wrote an order to buy the 4 Feb bellies at the market, and I asked my clerk, Jan Sklar, had been my clerk when I was at Drexel Burnham. We had our own clerk at the Mercantile. We had our own clerk at the CBOT, and also at the New York, at the Comex in New York, because we did so much business. And Jan's father, Jerry, was also a member of the exchange, and he was a hog trader. So I asked Jan. I said, could you go over to Ira? Ira Zeidman held all the paper for lead bellies, which was February. And he'd been around forever, a 2nd-generation trader and everything. He was on every conceivable committee in the whole place. And I didn't know him, so I said, "Could you go put this on? See if you can get this on the top, top of his deck." She comes back about 3 minutes later and says, "He wants to see you." And oh God! And then I realized what a bad mistake I had made. That's like asking for inside information. So I go over to him. He's only about 5'6", and he's standing on the first step, and I'm standing on the floor. And he said, "I understand you got a problem." I said, "Yes, sir. I'm short 4 bellies." He said, "I understand you have a problem." I said, "Yeah, I'm short bellies. They're probably going to go up the limit." He said, "Oh, bellies going to go up the limit?" And I said, "Well, the cattle are going to be up the limit." He says, "Pork bellies are not cattle. You understand that, don't you?" He said, "Pork bellies are already dead. Cattle are still alive." I said, "Yes, sir, I understand that too." And then he opened his deck. This was the only time, folks, in the 3 years I was down there that I actually saw a deck open and someone show me an order. He opened the deck, and on the very first order was sell 1,000 February pork bellies at the market. Selling 1,000 with all these other things limit up. And I said, "Is that a legitimate order?" And he looked at me with a frown on his face. He said, "Now, would I put an illegitimate order into this deck?" He says, "Go back there and trade with those animals and the TPs and the gold and all those foreign currencies that you guys trade, and leave us old timers here alone." And he taps me on the head with his little what do you call it, a monocle thing that he had. And then I walked away and never got any. I didn't get reprimanded or anything. Bellies opened limit down. Cattle opened about 10 cents higher and went limit down for 3 days, and ended up being okay. But anyway, that was the end of that. And but I always, after that, I sort of towed the line a little bit. However, I did go over the line when I asked for Bill Shepard's equity run. I just wanted to see what he was doing, which I imagine it was open interest. Hey, by the way, open interest yesterday with that big move we had in the stocks. Open interest dropped in the NASDAQ. It dropped in the Dow Jones, I believe, by a little bit, and Russell by a lot, and up slightly in the S&P. So there's not too much, but the markets are going, really, really crazy. We've hit some pretty interesting levels here now. We're trading we're trading above the 78% level in the S&P. That comes in at 4681, the old high being 4745. I don't believe that'll be taken out, but it certainly could. That's the main thing that you have to keep in mind as we're looking at some of these things here this morning. Now, tomorrow we're going to have Tim Bost as our guest. On Thursday, we're going to have Stan Harley. And on Friday, we're going to have Mr. Joe DiNapoli as a repeat performer. We're going to try to get the rest of his presentation in, and we'll hopefully be able to, get all three of those guys in. But we're definitely going to have Tim Bost and Stan Harley for Wednesday and Thursday. I hope I answer those questions to the best of my ability. And that's the main thing that I want to remind myself of that. The other one that is a very troubling chart to me because, I'm a firm believer in Isaac Newton's, whatever goes up goes down. This is that report from the Bank of America showing that more money has come in the last 2 years in the stock market than the previous 19 years. That's reminiscence of what happened between 1927 and 1929 in the stock market, from reading some of the books that I read about it. But, whether this is a top or not, all I know is when it does come in, it's going to hurt a whole lot of people, folks. Remember that beautiful pattern that we were looking at in Tesla yesterday, folks? We'll get this up here. We went almost to the exact 382. I think we missed it by $8. But, what you should do now, if you're in Tesla, and I can't do this because I'm not on long enough, but if you have a pattern like that and it has a really strong rally and then backs off to the 61% retracement, which Tesla did yesterday, then it ran $70. So that's what you want to be watching for, is to watch that pullback if you miss it. Just like I was looking at in the crude oil. Crude oil gave you 4 or 5 different opportunities to buy at the 382. This morning in the gold market, we had a nice little pop up in gold, ran about $9-10. It backed off and boom, ran another $6. So that's what you try to do, is to line those up. Now, I wanted to spend just a second here about this one because there's something big going to happen here, folks. Let me get this up in natural gas, because natural gas has gone from 640, all right, all the way, actually 650. It's gone from 650 all the way down to 366. It's dropped $30,000 in 2 months in the midst of a terrible shortage of heat oil, gasoline, all this other stuff. COVID doesn't make any difference. It still had a huge drop. Now, to me, I'm looking at this as a buying opportunity. And so what I've been watching for, yesterday I looked at it from the upside or the downside. And all I'm trying to do is to find a smaller pattern in here where I only have to risk about $500 to trade natural gas. And folks, it's like trading pork bellies, but if you get down to a 15-minute or a 30-minute chart, you're going to find some really nice tradable patterns. And that's what I'm trying to do for the 24/7 folks, is to get us in without risking an arm and leg. Let's take a break. When we get back, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, I want to post a chart here of my artificial intelligence neural network program that I use here. Give you a little story behind it. This is actual in live. I just posted it here about 3 minutes ago. You'll see here it had a bottom in here. Now we're coming up into a top. Now, how I got started doing this in 1990, Steve Shapiro sent me, he sent it to me, gave it to me when we were down having breakfast at the house with his mom and a couple other traders. And someone's asking a question possibly. And it's the ES chart. That's the E-mini ES chart overlaid with the AI on it. Anyway, he gave me this thermal fax, little thermal fax paper. and it showed a picture of what the S&P was supposed to be doing, and it worked pretty good. And so the next day, I got a copy from Steve what the S&P was supposed to be doing. Like, say, for instance, it was supposed to make a bottom and then rally up for 3 hours. And so I looked at it, and gosh, it was making a perfect Gartley at that point on a 5-minute chart. And this was done on a 2-minute chart, but the difference was very insignificant for pattern purposes. So I bought it, and it rallied up, and it worked pretty good. And I think I took 5 handles out of it. And that was the big handles, folks. That was like 50 handles these days, because it was $500 a point back in 1990. And so I had the number there. So I called the guy over in Bakersfield, California, Dennis Reagan, and I said, gee, this was a really good prediction. He said, I just took a nice profit. He got mad at me. He said, oh, you stupid son of a you shouldn't be trading. You should have your license revoked. And I said, well, I've got 7 licenses. And I says, why do you say that? He said, don't you see it's going higher? I said, yes, but it's made my price objective. He says, don't ever bother me again. And so he hung up. I told Steve, I said, Steve, this I do not need in my life. And so what happened was, after a few more days, I had some other good predictions. And then he called me, and he sort of apologized for it. He said, but would you take a look at this for me? And I said, sure. So I looked at it, and I watched it every day for about a week, and boy, it was doing really good. And so I called Jimmy Elder down in Birmingham, Alabama, because Jimmy was really good in mathematics and stuff, and he was due to come out and spend a week with me at the beach house. And well, it was not on the beach, it was on the cliff. But he would spend a week visiting with Bryce Gilmore, and a couple other traders had come in, so we were going to have a big brouhaha there at Pismo Beach. And so Jimmy wanted to come out. So we started working on it. And it was so interesting that Jimmy wanted to stay an extra week. And he said, I want to go over to Bakersfield and meet the guy. So we had a really good week trading. And so we went over there to visit him. And he was about 6'5". He weighed close to 400 pounds. He was a huge man, living in a small house with his Japanese wife, who did not speak English. 2 small Japanese-American kids, ages 2 and 3. And Dennis was, like I said, there was just a little 2-bedroom house, and the 1 bedroom was just nothing but computers. There must have been 4 of them in there. You couldn't get 3 people in the room because he was so large that there's just not enough room. So Jim was there, and I said, Jim, you can talk his language. I said, I'm going to go to the movies. I'll come back in 4 hours, and I'll pick you up. And he said, yeah, that sounds like okay. No cell phones, none of that stuff. So I go watch a couple of movies, and I don't even remember what they were. When I came back, it was about 4:30, and they were sitting in the front yard there in those little lawn chairs. And he was ready to go, and so we said goodbyes. We drove about a half a mile before we got to the highway to get back to San Luis, to Pismo Beach. And he said, pull over here. And I said, okay. I said, what's up? And he said, Larry, he said, I went to Harvard. My sister went to Harvard. My mother and father went to Harvard. My grandfather went to Harvard. And I have 2 MD degrees and a dental degree. And he said, I've been around smart people my whole life. He said, Larry, I've never been around anybody that smart. And I said, yeah. I said, I imagine. I said, he's a little weird. He said, little weird? He's just eccentric. And he said, did you see that little thing on his desk? He had a little like perpetual motion machine going on his desk. He said, I think that thing really works. And so we started to work with Dennis. And this was going in about 6 months now. And I was scheduled to go on my one and only cruise line trip. It was to go to Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan for a week. And so I decided to go, and I left. And Jimmy opened a $50,000 trading account for Dennis to trade. And so Dennis had run it up to about $130,000 in about 2 weeks. And so everything was looking good. So I got on. I went. This was the trip from hell when I got stuck into these terrible hurricanes during the there are typhoons down there, but it was just oh my God, it was. I just don't like boats, as you probably know. That was part of the reasoning behind it. So anyway, when I got back, it was early Monday morning, and so I called Dennis and I said, how's it going? He said, well, did you talk to Jim? And I said, no. He said, well, things got a little bad. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I had a little drawdown in the account. I said, what do you mean? I said, you had about 130,000 when I left. He said, well, he says, not quite that much in there anymore. I said, how much is in there? He said, oh, about $1,200. I said, yeah, that qualifies as a drawdown. So first thing I did was I called Jim, and he wasn't even concerned. What happened was Dennis had a couple of bad trades, and what he started doing, he started averaging down to losers. And he would buy 4, then he'd buy 6, and then he'd buy 12. And when you're trading the British pound and it's dropping like a rock and you're buying, you're going to lose your shirt. And he did. He lost to 50 grand. That was the best 50 grand we ever spent, because we had been, for the first 10 weeks, we'd paid him about 4 grand a week just to get the overlays in gold. It had to be paid in Cougarans or maple leafs. That's all he would take. And so after that time, he didn't ask for any payment or anything. He just wanted us to cover his rent and his food, which was about $2,500 a month. And so we covered that, and then we started building the program ourselves, and that's how we got to it. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention, folks, is because AI has been in these markets for a very long time. These algorithmic traders, that's exactly what they're doing. If you can see, if you'll just look what happens in the early morning in the stock market, folks, that from the time it opens from 9:30 to 10:30 to 11 o'clock is, from, let's say 9:30 to 11, that is by far the most important part of the day. These people get their orders in, and when these buyers come in, it's just like magic. That's one of the reasons when we do the Floor Traders Handbook, we showed you how to look for those key times. Every market has its own key time of the day. With the S&P, it happens to be an hour and a half between 9:30 and 11 o'clock. Usually it's right around exactly 10 o'clock. I just posted it here. You see, this time it's going to be closer to 12 o'clock. But that's still within the ballpark of what you're looking for. Now, these patterns, when they work absolutely perfectly. And when they don't work, it's telling you that the market has made a mirror image or flip side of what it's supposed to be doing. And that's the main thing that you try to do when you're watching these things, is to determine where you are at any particular time. Now, I'm bringing this to your attention for 2 reasons, because you can do some of this yourself, but when you see artificial intelligence coming out, whether it's neural networks or whatever these other things that they have, fuzzy logic and all this other stuff, it's all related to the same thing, and we're dealing nothing but numbers. Now, let me give you, this was done by a friend of mine, using our program. Hold on one second. I want to get this up here. You can take a look at it. This was done way back many, many years ago in 2016. So I just wanted to get this up here and show you what we're looking at here. We'll be right back after we pay a few bills. 877-927-664.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Okay, folks, what I did was I posted this is going back to 2016. I just wanted to show you the types of things that you can do with this intelligence once you try to figure it out. And believe me, I've spent a good 20 years looking at it, but it's 30 years actually. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, the main thing that I wanted you to get from this is if you look at the second chart there, that's the bottom in July of 2016. We had a major bottom. There was a major astro thing there. In fact, I was in Florida. It was the second week in Florida. We were down visiting Tom and Tommy in Clearwater, and that was a 382 retracement on the gold market. It also was if you look at the far left, if you remember, they originally started buying gold big time when it was 1,060. And the low had been 1,037, and then it had a pretty good run. But that's what you're trying to do. So when you see me post something like this, realize two things. One, it's only based on probability. It is nothing 100% sure, okay? Number two, realize if it doesn't work, that means that it's flipped and it's most probably going to go in the other direction for quite some time. That's like what we're looking at here. In about 15 minutes in the stock market should start to go lower. Well, if at 15 minutes after 2, the market's not going lower, well, it's probably going to go up the whole day. That's the bottom line of what you're looking at. So you're wanting to do this. Hold on, someone's asking a question. What the gold's been up since early this morning, Z. I can't post it because the charts are too large. They don't post well into the room. Oh, I might be able to post it at the break. But I could probably post it at the break. But again, I can't make any promises. But the most important parts of the day, folks, are those that are in the Floor Traders Handbook. It shows you over. I'm talking about 30,000. Oh my God, there's so many days in there I can't even remember. But we mathematically looked at when the highs and lows of these things usually occur, and they occur in clusters. Why? I don't know why they do that, but they just like they make highs and lows at certain times on FibPoint, the same thing is true. Now, what this program, this AI, is not based on anything related to price. It's related to time. We had a MIPS computer. I've mentioned this many times. Means millions of integers per second, MIPS. And instead of looking at the x-axis, we looked at the y-axis to what time was. X is the time axis. We looked at the x-axis, which was the time axis, to see if there was the same harmony in the y-axis as there was in the time axis, and it was there. And you can see it. That's how we came up with these ideas of harmonic numbers, because these repeat over and over again. I posted the one of the NASDAQ. You can see what it did on the daily basis. It was repeating itself over and over again. If you start to look for that repetition, it can be a big thing in your favor. So just remind yourself that It's not what you make, it's how much you don't lose. That's the whole key. Now, let's see if we can, well, I can't get it up now, but we get the gold chart up here. We will definitely take a look at this at the break and help. You know what? I've got time to do it right now. So, Mr. Z, if you'll be so kind to stay with us here. I got to make a quick couple of settings here on my chart so that I can make it so that you folks can see it. And then I'm only seconds away of getting it done. So bear with me here. Since we're doing that, we'll just do one here for the old NASDAQ. Let's try that, Larry, make it a little bit different here. We'll do we're going to show you the natural gas. And then we want to show you the gold. And you'll see a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And just give me 1 second here. There we go. Let me get rid of the European forecast because I don't think we need that. And now we're ready to show you the gold forecast. And here it is. Email. Okay, now make one tiny little change now. Get back here and change this to the old 100%. And hopefully, God willing, God is willing, God is willing, God is great, God is good. Okay, Mr. Z, here is your forecast for today. This was the gold market. You'll notice that we were looking for the market to sell off a little bit between 11:30 and 12. It's not. That means it's going to go up a whole lot higher. But you can see the low came in exactly at 1772. The buy would have been around 1773, 1774. And you can see here the first pullback was a 382 down there at 1779, and boom, away we go. That ABCD just tells us we're going to probably be somewhere around 1792 sometime today in the I hope that's explains to you what I'm doing. It's not an easy concept to do. I wrote a book about it called Artificial Intelligence, and the problem is I never published the book. My publisher was a little upset because I didn't want it published. The reason why, I thought I had found the Holy Grail at that time, and I didn't want to give out too much. But frankly, it's very, very good, but it's nowhere close to the Holy Grail. My problem is I've had a few people along the way to try to help me develop it, but they just didn't have the gray power to get it done. Not that they just didn't have the experience that you need in some of these things. That's why when you've got these guys like D.E. Shaw and Renaissance, I mean, these guys, they're hiring guys out of MIT at $400,000 at $35,000 a month to work on these problems, and so that's who your competition is here. So it's not an easy gig. So just remind ourselves of that. Okay, now let's just hold on 1 second. I want to check a couple of quick things here. I wanted to see if that wheat trade was still working. Just get it up here. Let's take a look at it here because, wheat's picked up a nice 10 cents, and that's pretty good. I also posted I got to do it right now. I also, since I was searching for gold, the first one I was looking at for today was the natural gas. And since I have it right here, I'll show you what natural gas was doing today. You talk about a really nice setup, and this is a lot of money, folks. You see, in natural gas, when you go from 66 to 82, that's $2,600, okay? And then you go from 83 down to 73, that's another $1,000. So it's moved $3,600 today. Of course, the S&P's moved up 100, so that's even more. But that's what you're trying to do, is to get to that spot where you really don't have to risk more than a little bit. So that's the main thing. So those were the main questions. Any other questions? Unfortunately, you'll have to hold them to another time because Al tells me that the board is all lit up like a Christmas tree, and there's nothing else we can do about it. So hold on, we'll go from there. Okay, all right, I think that's about it. Okay, a time. Oh, a slide. Oh, Al said there is one spot open if somebody wants to call. Too late. Al said it's already closed. Keep trying, folks. You might be one of those lucky ones that gets in, and that's really what you want to be watching. And hold on 1 second. I'll just show you what the bonds look like today. You can get a rough idea on these too, because you'll see we had a really nice low in bonds at 05, and we rallied up about $500 to $600. This is not long-term trading, folks. This is trying to get an edge. That's all it is. It's about a timing edge. You have to add the patterns and the ratios to it. You can't just buy at a time. You've got to have a ratio or a pattern there that's going to give you risk control. Because if these things are not working after about 15 minutes, I mean, if you're only talking about 15 minutes in time, you're usually wrong. That's what the beauty of it is. 877-927-6648.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are you looking for a secured investment which pays you on a monthly basis? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be the program for you. The best rate on a 5-year CD in the country right now, according to Bankrate.com, is paying 1% per year or $1,000 per $100,000 invested. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly, on secured, high-value, buildable properties in St. Petersburg, Florida. The investment is for 4 years, paying 7% per year or $7,000 per $100,000 invested. Your investment is secured by high-value real estate in St. Petersburg, Florida. Your investment can be anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. Do you want to make $1,000 per year on $100,000 invested or $7,000 per year on a secured Tiger First mortgage? The Tiger First Mortgage Program may be just the program for you. The Tiger First Mortgage Program pays 7% per year, paid monthly. For more information, you can call 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
Okay, we're back, folks. I posted the chart of the live hogs just to give you a perfect example that you really don't need to know much about artificial intelligence or anything. You know, old curly, AB equals CD, folks. That's really what you keep your eye on the ball, and that'll get you to the promised land. Eventually, might take a little longer than most, but you'll still get there. Now you can see what we were looking for in the live hogs, for the live hogs to come down quite a bit. Now let's just take a look at what's happening to live hogs today, and guess what? May the fortunes smile on us, and you'll see that the live hogs are down considerably today, to the tune of about 2.5 cents. So that tells us that we should get down about another penny or two, about 2 cents more, down to about that 82 level. Would be a nice little Gartley forming in that if you get to that appointment. So you'll see what's on. By the way, if you have an interest in these intraday things we have, you can reach me at Larry Pesavento at gmail.com if you have further interest. I have a special on the AI book if you're interested in that. And anyway, that's main. Remember, tomorrow we're going to have Tim Bost as our guest. Wednesday's tomorrow, Tim Bost. Thursday will be Stan Harley. And, of course, on Friday, we're going to have none other than Mr. Joe DiNapoli, God willing, and he usually is, but we got to get in touch with him first to make sure he's able to make that date. The second thing that I wanted to remind you of, we're coming in now to right around 12 o'clock here in the market, so let me take just a really quick look here, and that is Fast Markets Live from TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim. Oh, yeah. Well, next on TFNN, we got Fast Markets from TD Ameritrade, then Steve Rhodes, David White, Tom O'Brien. So make sure you listen to all these great folks. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless. And I'll see you all tomorrow with Tim Boss as our guest, and we'll have a gay old time looking at some of these things in the astrological world. And also he'll be covering Bitcoin, because there's been a lot of action over there in the cryptos, and I believe they are here to stay, but maybe they're not. We'll see.